My name is Lacey Crawford. I'm Communications Director for Social Security Works. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. So this afternoon, our allies in Congress and leaders from our coalition are here to deliver a congressional sign-on letter and 375,000 petition signatures urging the Department of Education to put a moratorium on the garnishment of Social Security benefits for student debt. So now I'd like to introduce Representative Marcia Fudge, ranking member on the subcommittee on early childhood, elementary, and secondary education, the House Committee on Education and Workforce.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. And thank you all for being here today. Certainly I want to thank my colleagues, Congressman Ellison and Grijalva, for in getting me involved in this particular fight. And it is a fight. I want to as well say to Secretary Duncan and Commissioner Colvin and Secretary Liu, we hope that you hear what we are here to tell you today. There is a fundamental unfairness about garnishing Social Security checks. I mean, come on, people. Are you serious? This is something that people have relied on. It is the culmination of a life's work to know that the federal government is keeping its promise. And so if we start to take away those resources for college debt that is probably way too high in the first place, we are saying to the people of America, some 144,000 in my district alone, we don't care whether you live or die at this point. We don't care if you stay in your homes. We don't care if you can feed yourself. People know that for women, African American women in particular, Social Security is more than 75% of all of the resources they have. Most of the people I know on Social Security, it is their sole source of income. And so we can't be compliant in making them more reliant on other forms of government. And so I'm just especially pleased to be here to be able to say to people, this is unfair. We need to stop it, and we need to stop it now. And I'm really happy that my colleagues and I have put together a letter to the appropriate persons, and we have, in addition, have petitions from more than 350,000 Americans who are affected by this. There's 6,000 of them in my district alone.
Let me just say very clearly, garnishing Social Security benefits of seniors and people with disabilities is unacceptable and threatens the financial security of the most vulnerable. Today we're here to tell the Department of Education enough is enough. We tell Americans that the way to a better life is through education, and we mean it. And yet, when students pursue a higher degree at 18 or at 50, they're left with unmanageable debt. Rather than offering more affordable education, better interest rates, or better repayment options, we garnish the benefits of one of the most important anti-poverty programs we've ever had. That is Social Security. Student debt for seniors grew from $2.8 billion in 2005 to a whopping $18.2 billion in 2013. Now that's a lot of explosion right there. That's more than a six-fold increase in 10 years. And the majority of the debt was for their education, not the education of their children or loved ones. Garnishing Social Security benefits for seniors and people with disabilities is not acceptable, threatens the financial security of the most vulnerable Americans, and we must oppose it. The Department of Education has the power to stop this practice. We insist that they do, and we are dropping off this petition to remind them that Americans with disabilities and seniors deserve better. So on behalf of 375,000 people, I would like to share this document with you, sir, and accept these vast numbers of petitions from Americans all over the United States, along with my letter to you. Thank you. And this document.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Congressman. We look forward to reviewing these.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming over.
And so let's stand together. Let's insist that seniors be treated with respect, people with disabilities be treated with respect. Garnishing the pay, the benefits of these workers is wrong. We won't stand for it. And the education of our population is a necessity, and we will insist upon it. Thank you all very much. When we stand together and fight, we win.
Glad to be here and glad to be that our organization, the Campaign for America's Future, played a big role in gathering a lot of these signatures. Now, it used to be in the 1950s and 1960s, only a few generations ago, people could go to college at a state university debt-free. We are trying, after 50 years, to get back to that goal of debt-free college. In the meantime, there's $1.3 trillion of debt out there that are burdening students and former students, and even people who have gotten to Social Security age are having to choose between buying food with their Social Security benefits and buying and paying off their student debt. And hundreds of thousands of those people on Social Security are seeing their benefits garnished by the federal government, taking the money right out of their checks in order to pay the student debts that they took on back in their youth. We believe, we at the Campaign for America's Future believe, that if you get to the Social Security age, you should not have to pay any more student debt. But certainly, we agree with this petition, which says that we should stop garnishing funds from the Social Security benefits of people who still owe on their student debts. It's a movement for free college. It's a movement for getting rid of the debt that is burdening Americans, and we are glad to be part of this effort. We hope that the administration will take the opportunity to stop garnishment of Social Security benefits as one step toward a debt-free future. Thanks very much. And now we have Biola JJ from Project Springboard.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Biola JJ, and I'm a recent graduate of Brooklyn College, which is a part of the City University of New York, or CUNY. What's so special about CUNY is that when it was founded in 1847, it was completely free, offering a quality education to the poor and working class of the city. It was only during the financial crisis of the 1970s, when New York faced and was afraid of going bankrupt after major banks threatened to cut off credit if budget cuts were made, that New York City then implemented tuition. Time and time again, we see these manufactured crises forcing state and local governments to choose Wall Street over our education and over our futures. This is not just unsustainable, it is unjust. We need free, universal public higher education. Being able to get a degree, which you need in today's job market, shouldn't mean you spend the rest of your life paying for it. And a good education shouldn't only be private. Education is the pathway to developing citizens so that they can engage in the democratic process. An attack on our ability to do that, to get an education, is an attack on our democracy. We have a choice to make now. We can either continue squeezing those whose wages have barely risen with inflation, making it harder for them to make ends meet, increasing stress and pressure on an already overstressed population. Or we can invest in our collective future, invest in a society that doesn't punish you for not being born in the 1%, a society where education is a right and not a privilege. I am grateful for my CUNY education. At Brooklyn College, our motto was Nil Signe Magno Labore, which is Latin for nothing without great effort. And to me, it reminds me that while I may not have grown up with a lot of money, it's education and our ability to give people access to the tools and the resources they need to chart their own future that really makes a difference, not being born with a trust fund. So I hope that this is the start of a great effort to transform our institutions so that they work for all and not just some. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Nancy Altman from Social Security Works.
Thank you so much. Social Security is not just a program for old people. It is our nation's largest children's program. And student debt is not just an issue for the young. As we have been saying, there are too many seniors who are having their Social Security lowered to pay off decades-old student debt. This is just wrong. Grandparents are not better off if their grandchildren cannot afford to go to college, and grandchildren are not better off if their grandparents are struggling. Now, Viola said she wasn't born with a trust fund, but she was. She was born with the Social Security Trust Fund. And under that, from the very beginning, since Social Security was enacted in 1935, creditors could not get Social Security benefits. It was free from the reach of creditors, as the way it should be and as trust funds generally are. Now, that was changed in 1995, but not for all creditors, just for the federal government. The government that is supposed to be on our side is instead digging into our pockets and taking out these benefits. That's just wrong. And I am so pleased to be joined with Roger and Viola and others who are fighting for both to expand Social Security and to get to a point of free, we should be there already, free college, debt-free, getting out. Now, the people working in the building behind me have the ability at this moment to put a stop, to put a moratorium on garnishing Social Security. We need the people down the street in Congress to actually get to absolute free public college for everyone. But at the very minimum, this administration, we are delighted to work with them. We have, as others have said, this is an issue across the nation that resonates with people, and we urge the administration in this last little over a year to do its part and end the garnishment of Social Security. Thank you.